What's going on, everybody? It's EricRayweather back here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the latest title update for Madden 19. I believe this is the last and final title update for the year, which I don't like because it's the end of January. There's still a good 6.5 months left of Madden 19, and this is pretty much what they did last year, except last year I think it came in February, so not really much later. But after February, they didn't update the game for the rest of the year, and there's still a lot of things that need to be addressed with this game, before moving to Madden 20. We still have 6 months left of the game. There's still a lot of things that need to be fixed, and from what I've seen so far, I don't think they address nearly enough of those things. But we're going to go over what was fixed today and, what you can be looking forward to for the next 6 months. So we'll go over what was fixed, we'll go over what needed to be fixed and was not fixed, and, what you can expect the game to be like, until Madden 20 comes out. So, franchise update. Sorry, franchise guys, but this is all you got here. It says addressed an issue with mouse selection not functioning throughout the customize your season flow after continuing from a play now game. I don't even know what that means, and it really doesn't even sound like anything that's that significant, honestly. So nothing else for franchise mode, I guess. It's on the Madden 20 for you guys, unfortunately. Gameplay updates. Playbooks. Fixed an issue that allowed users to get players in unrealistic alignments via audibles that was being used as an exploit. This is actually a very good fix. This was something that I expected 100% to be in this update, and I honestly think that this is probably the main reason they even did this update. Having looked over it before the video, this kind of seems like the reason they did the update was just for this, and it is a big fix. So basically, I don't know if a lot of you know this, but there was a freeze glitch going around. If you don't know what it is and you want to see what it was, you can go to Gut Fox's channel, because I know he talked about it, which was good, because a lot of times when he posts this kind of stuff, it kind of forces EA's hand a little bit to say, well, we have to patch this because it's getting out now. So he posted it probably about a week ago maybe, so you could check it out there if you didn't see it. But basically what it was that you could, like motion a guy out to a random spot, and then you could, reset the play, but you could freeze that player that you motioned out. So a popular thing people were doing was like doing a halfback pitch to a running back while he was lined up by the numbers, because what they would do was they would motion him out, and then they would reset the play, but they'd be able to freeze the running back where they motioned him out to. So then when you go to throw the toss, it would throw the toss all the way out by the numbers, and that was obviously glitchy, hard to defend. But also you could create illegal formations with this by like flipping plays or audibling to different plays and freezing one player on a spot or a side of the field that he wasn't supposed to be on. And then especially in like terms of man defense, if you did this, the defender wouldn't recognize that player as being lined up there because the game thought that he was actually lined up somewhere else. So that was a big exploit that was starting to go around. If you play online, I'm sure you saw it. Like I said, if you didn't see it and you want to kind of get an idea of what it was, you can go check out on Gut Fox's channel. But that is a good fix right there. So moving along, tuning update. This is another pretty big one here. It says increased the passing accuracy and throw power penalties when wildly dropping back very far behind the line of scrimmage and throwing across the QB's body. Basically what this is right here is this is a Michael Vick patch. If you play Ultimate Team, everybody's got Michael Vick. After the Christmas promo, he was really easy to obtain. Everybody has him. He's super fast. So what people do with Michael Vick is they just wildly run behind the line of scrimmage, to avoid blitzers or free rushers that maybe shed a block. They run wildly behind the line of scrimmage, 15, 20 yards, back to the receiver, throwing across their body. And he was just nailing a lot of these passes, which we all know is just pretty much impossible, and it's ridiculous. So they because of that, they have tuned the game to where if you're running behind the line of scrimmage, you're throwing across your body, You're going to have more of a penalty on those passes. Personally, I think if you're running backwards and throwing across your body, you should like almost never complete those passes. They should always be inaccurate. They probably didn't tune it enough, but at least they tuned it to some degree. And I guess if you're not an ultimate team player and you play regs, well, just think of somebody, I guess, maybe with Lamar Jackson would be the closest thing to that. Or a Mariota, he's got, some decent speed, able to kind of run backwards and still deliver accurate passes. Now you should see more inaccurate passes with that, so that's good, but they really should just make it to where it's almost impossible to complete those type of passes because your back's turned to your wide receivers, you're throwing off your back foot across your body. I mean, how often do you see something like that completed in real life? Almost never. Special teams, this is another good fix right here. They improved the kickoff trajectory to avoid kickoffs that are difficult for the returner to successfully catch or recover the ball in a reasonable amount of time. And they also removed any chance at a kick block if the jump snap mechanic on defense is mistimed to be early. This is for competitive and simulation game styles. So on arcade, this isn't actually changed on arcade, but that's okay because arcade mode, that's kind of what it is. So basically, number one here is basically the scum kick, right? There's always new variations of what's called the scum kick, and this is how when people kick the ball off in weird ways to make it hard for your guys to return it. They kick it and it'll land, and they find the perfect power, perfect accuracy to where they kick off the ball, it lands in a certain spot where your players are unable to actually get to the ball and recover it. The ball will bounce to certain areas, and it's just really extremely hard for your guys to recover it because it's basically kind of like a bug in the game where they can get the ball to bounce in a perfect spot every time, and it's just obviously not supposed to be that way. So they fixed the current one that's in the game. I'm sure people will find a new one by later today because that's what people do, but they at least fixed the ones that are known. And the second part of this basically just means with the blocked kicks is you can't just spam the button until they snap the ball and get a better chance of blocking the kick. If you time it too early, you're not going to be able to block the kick on competitive and simulation game style. Here we have some pass coverage fixes. It says added new logic to cover 4 quarters to better handle vertical routes from trips formations when the number 3 receiver closest to the line of scrimmage is in a detached alignment. So basically thing like trips tight end. If the most inside receiver runs a streak down the field, there were times where the cover 4 quarters was kind of glitching out and not covering that right. So apparently now the safety in that coverage should run vertical with that guy. So basically just fixing little with the cover 4 quarters is it's a match defense. It's a zone defense, but it plays man match. So there's certain route combinations that it was still having trouble defending, and throughout the year they've just kind of been updating that and making it better, which is good. Here they said added coverage logic for the deep half safety in a cover 6 to prevent him from matching vertical routes being ran by inside wide receivers. So I think cover 6, one of the deep safeties, was also still glitching out versus certain things, so they addressed that as well. And then the third one here is adjusted coverage logic for seam flat defenders in cover 3 match so that they properly match wheel routes that are run by a receiver aligned in a slot position. So basically, if you run cover 3 match, the guys that are in seam flats should match wheel routes being run by slot wide receivers better now. But with my experience with the match defenses in the game this year, which is cover 3 match, cover 4 quarters, cover 4 palms, even when they do fix these things, they're still usually not perfect. They're usually a little bit better. But the match defense this year, while it's a step in the right direction for defense and zone defense in Madden, a big step in the right direction, and it does work a decent amount of the time. It's still, kind of one of those things you kind of have to take all this with a grain of salt because it still isn't perfect, and it still definitely needs to get a lot better. And I think this is something that will get a lot better in the years to come because it just really started making its way into the game this year in a big way, and it has been useful, but there's still some kinks to work out with it, but once they do get it all the way right, I think you're going to see the AI on defense be a lot better because of these defenses. But right now, they're still a little buggy, but they're definitely usable, and they are good in a lot of situations. Here we have a blocking fix. Here it says fixed an issue causing a tight end in a wing or fullback position on certain halfback toss plays to target defenders on the back side of the formation. Basically, in the toss play, sometimes the guy that's supposed to be lead blocking for you will kind of like pull off and like target somebody behind you, which makes no sense because he's supposed to be lead blocking, not blocking behind you. So they fixed that. Definitely upset to see that that's the only blocking fix that they addressed, because there's just so many issues with blocking this year. I'm actually going to have a video on that coming soon, because I had a game where it was just a lot of crazy things were happening with the blocking, and I kind of want to showcase that. But if you guys play the game, you know that already. Madden Ultimate Team, it says the previous Huddle tab will now be renamed Competitive and taken over with Madden Championship Series content, including the streaming schedule and the game day program, which has competitive-themed offers like unique club championship uniforms and competitor coaches. So basically, if you play Ultimate Team, the Huddle tab for the rest of the year will be the competitive tab, because they're really about to, the competitive season's really kind of getting kicked up now, as a lot of the big end-of-year tournaments are starting. So basically, all the information on that will be there. So there's actually no real change to Ultimate Team. All the Ultimate Team changes are, server-based and happen throughout the year. So let's talk about the things that weren't fixed, because there was a lot of things that weren't fixed. It's kind of upsetting to see that this likely being the last update of the year, that there's so many things that has the gameplay in a bad state right now that wasn't touched. Top two things on the list: one, aggressive catches were completely ruined with the last update, and they did not address it in this update. Aggressive catches and just double coverage, triple coverage, just wild high point aggressive catches and tons of traffic are being caught at a ridiculous rate right now. Even one-on-one, it's being caught too much. I mean, sure, you should catch it one-on-one sometimes if you have, a Julio, a Moss, a guy that goes up and gets the ball. Absolutely, but it's being caught way too much. The offense has way too much of an advantage there, and that was not addressed, which is really bad. The spin move, again, not addressed. Yes, if you're a good player, if you got really great stick skills, you can stop it sometimes. But that's the best you get, is sometimes. You can never be the better player on defense and know that you can line up in the right way, have them spin right into your body, and stop them every time. They can spin right into you and you'll still get sucked into an animation that you have no control over way too often, even if you are on that given play the better user. If you're in better position, if you're lined up right, if you're doing everything right, the animation will still happen and you're still screwed. Was not addressed. That's honestly, those are the two of the bigger things that's really just making gameplay unbearable. The way the defense reacts to certain routes, like obviously the Pat Sale post. I mean, yes, there's ways to stop that, so that doesn't really bother me particularly. There's ways you can stop that, but the fact they still haven't been able to get the defensive logic right to play those crossers or those posts that cross, the field, that's obviously a big deal. They did not fix the cloud flat glitch, which there's a lot of cloud flat glitches going around right now where you can literally make cloud flats dumb out and just kind of just walk in place and not actually play their zone. It's not something you could do out of any given play or formation, but there's certain formations and certain plays where you can literally make the cloud flat just completely dumb out and just literally just walk in place and not do anything. That wasn't addressed. Not something that's too rampant right now, but could be, as we have, like I said, 6 months left of the game. This could start running rampant eventually. Another thing that wasn't fixed is something we've seen all year, and I guess maybe they just don't know how to replicate it in order to fix it. Because in order to fix things, you kind of have to know how to replicate it to figure out why it's happening. But the glitch where you get tackled, but you don't actually go down, and you get back up, and you're able to run. And usually you run for a touchdown when this happens, because the defense thinks you're down, so the defense gives up on the play, but you can get up and keep running. It's not something you see every game, but you see it happen far too much than it's supposed to never happen. And you see it happen, I see at least one person a day post it on Twitter, so it's happening too much. That's just off the top of my head. Blocking is still very bad in the game. There's a lot of issues where sometimes guys not even running the routes they're supposed to run when you hot route them. There's just a lot of bugs this year with the game. They did make a few good fixes with this update. The freeze glitch, the scum kicks, the coverage stuff, the field goal stuff, all good, but just way too many things. And a lot of these things I feel like aggressive catching and spin wise, you could have just made a tuning update to fix that, at least to my knowledge. You didn't have to like actually change code to fix some of those things, and they didn't touch that, so that's upsetting. So this is the Madden we've got for the rest of the year. Expect spins, expect aggressive catches, expect cloud flat glitches, and just expect the gameplay to be a little bit rough until Madden 20, and hopefully it gets better. But that's the latest update. Let me know what you think below. Definitely leave your comments below. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys next time.